And welcome to another edition of Jay Bird Watching. We are part of the Stadium Scene .tv network. Shout out to Stadium Scene. I am your host today, Adam Corsair, and I'm joined by my fellow co-host off screen, Mr. Craig Borden at the moment, but on screen with a brand new microphone, Mr. Brendan Pennicar. And before we get into it, I just want to say congratulations on the new walls there, Mr. Brendan Pennicar.
Oh,
How are
thank
we
you
doing
very
today?
much, sir. I appreciate it. It's weird having space and not pulling out the table from the kitchen and sitting behind it and getting it all set up. That now just come pull out the chair, sit down, and be ready to go.
There you go. How you doing, Craig?
Doing good, buddy. Now the dog's back in the house, so I can really participate, apparently.
There you go.
I'm going to say one thing about Brendan, too. It is so nice to see you out of the kitchen.
Thank you.
Yes.
Isn't it nice to not see a Keurig behind me?
I don't know. I like
this is a beer drinking show. You
Hey,
should have at least swapped it out for like one of those like little mini brew kits or something.
Well, that being said, we've got a guest, as you can tell by the video feed. If you are joining us on the video feed, I'd like to welcome proud member of Small Boys Inc., the 6'4" king himself, Mr. Connor Chambers of Toronto Sports Views. What's going on, man?
Oh, shout out Small Boys Inc.
Yeah.
I knew it was coming. Look, I'm thrilled to be here.
Yo, Connor, talk your shit. Talk your shit. Yeah.
Listen, okay. I mean, you already said what you had to say. I'm 6'4". All right, I'm really the president of Small Boys Inc. at this point. Cause like y'all ain't touching six, unfortunately.
How can you be president of Small Boys Inc. if you're 6'4"?
Because I'm the tallest. I'm just up here, and y'all are like. So cheers to that. Hey, look, it's been a long time coming. Yeah, exactly. I'm like it's like opposite day, but it's been a long time coming. I last time I was on here was season opener last year. I'm thrilled to be back. And that was a blast, and I'm sure this will be a blast too. As the viewers can tell, the Beard Gang is going strong here. I see that. Some a little bit more than others, right?
Yeah.
But I think I try to keep up with Adam, right? Like I got the height, he's got the beard. Like that's the way it goes. So
and Rich has got. Anyways,
absolutely not. Sorry, Rich, the third member of Small Boys. But I was talking about before we started out live. I was actually talking about something that might actually make Adam a little bit mad. But I'm gonna preface it before I dive into the details. I'm wearing a hat. And it is a Boston Red Sox hat. And
time to go.
How can you even wear blue with?
Explain it, Adam. Put the back in. I'm gonna explain it. All right. If you follow me on Twitter, you actually see that there's some meaning behind this. So
I did see
when the best thing I can think
of. Yeah. So I was doing my whole Blue Jays Rock thing on Twitter because how can you not? With George Springer coming in, I was like feeling big dick energy and just wanted to like showcase that to everyone, right? And I had a mutual follower. His name's Brett Knight on my Twitter feed. He's a Red Sox fan, but he's a little bit down, right, boys? Like the Red Sox aren't great, and he's a little bit down, and he's looking for a fun team to cheer for. And he came to me and he said, "Look, the Blue Jays are that team. Like they're a fun team. I love what you guys are doing, and I think it would be cool to do a hat swap. So you pick a Blue Jays hat for me, and I'll pick a Red Sox hat for you." And while it's Red Sox and it's a divisional rival and that whole thing, but the meaning behind it I thought was really cool. So I just kind of wanted to lead into it and say we exchanged hats, and now he's actually got in contact with people from Arizona to do a Diamondbacks Red Sox swap, someone from San Diego for a Padres one. So it's kind of cool. I think it's a cool way to like integrate fan bases and bring someone else to the Blue Jays bandwagon. So I kind of wanted to leave with that because I thought it was a cool story. And I know it's a Red Sox hat, but look, and Adam kind of went and puked in the corner, but I thought it was kind of cool. So
it's a good story behind it.
It is.
Yeah.
I would never have done this otherwise, but no voluntary purchase. But you know what? Fantastic dude, and it was a great story. So yeah.
Go.
Look, it sounds charitable, so I'll give you that. I know amongst the Blue Jays fan base, outside of me, I guess there's more of a hatred towards the Yankees than the Red Sox, which I find a little bit surprising. But whatever, to each their own. But I commend you, sir, on your charitable friendships with the Twitter sphere and keeping a G.
So we do it.
Tip of the cap, rub of the beard. I don't know what the pull of the stash. How's that?
I got nothing.
Squirrel with
there.
you.
I got absolutely nothing.
This is the royal beard, right?
Yeah, there it is.
The bearded
That's
king.
why he's hosting this week. He's got the full, like, literally cartoony like thing going on.
Dude, I'm telling you.
It's even got the silhouette.
I'm trying to get it out to here. I'm trying to just go until I get vaccinated. I'm just gonna.
He's gonna be full Yosemite Sam in a month.
Oh yeah, dude, for sure. This isn't even 3 months old, dude. It's still a baby, right?
Best facial hair hosts every week. That means Adam hosts every week.
You know what I want to do? I want to get a video of the progression of it, like every week, see how much it grows.
Oh, you should.
You know?
Oh, we could pull a frame on that, no problem.
Yeah, just the length.
If you want to go viral, that's the way to do it, eh?
I can't go viral. Man.
Tag Matt Shoemaker and then watch it blow up.
Yeah.
It
goes back.
I have one thing to mention real quick before you go on.
Yeah,
For the millennials listening, Yosemite Sam's the one that always shoots at Bugs Bunny. Just clarify.
Yes.
Fair.
If they allow guns in cartoons anymore. Anyways, I digress.
That's why I had to say it.
Yeah. Hey, before we begin, we do have a Patreon. Craig, why don't you take the lead on this and what people can expect if they subscribe to our Patreon?
We're looking for people to join our little chat here, Adam and Brendan. So what we're doing is we're offering a $10, founder special, 25 exclusive slots. We're going to interview you on your Blue Jays fandom, and you get to come on the show for one of our, 10-minute episodes. And like I said, we're just going to talk Blue Jays, being a fan, and how fun you've had being a Blue Jays fan over the past however long. And we're going to go from there. And we're hoping to find some more experiences, kind of like things like that, to jump in and, join the gang here. And we're hoping that it's going to be a nice, fun way to meet and interact with more Blue Jays fans.
Sweet.
If you've been a fan for as long as I have, it's only been fun for really 2 seasons and last year.
There were these powder blue days, Brendan, that used to be really, really fun.
I was alive for 1992 and 93, but I was a baby, so I don't remember.
I'll take the mid 90s. Obviously 1995 is an anomaly here, but I'll take the mid 90s going into the 2000s over late 2000. Right, that 2005 to 13 period was rough.
Painful, man.
Yeah,
angry for a reason.
Mm-hmm. You didn't like watching mediocre baseball year after year after year and being right in the middle,
right?
Arguably the best pitcher and one of the best first basemen of a generation.
Yeah,
wasted.
Absolutely.
Those years we were what the Angels are doing with Mike Trout.
Yeah.
That's exactly correct, actually.
Except Trout and Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
Except at least the Angels are absolutely garbage. The Blue Jays just flirted with mediocrity and just missing the playoffs by like 4 or 5 games so many times. It was so frustrating.
Single year.
Maybe next year was the key words.
Yeah.
Maybe next year.
Well, gentlemen, that being said, let's jump into some Blue Jays news. This is semi-related to the Blue Jays, and it's about Trevor Bauer. Now, look, whether you like him or you hate him, Trevor Bauer did, I think, a very good job at making his signing, his free agent signing, as entertaining as possible. I cannot recall a free agent that was so open and transparent on the entire process, posting videos, documenting what's going on, posting promos about it, most recently about where he's going to end up. Again, like him or not, we bitch and complain about the game being too boring, and here's Trevor Bauer trying to pull that out and sort of course correct. That being said, he ended up signing with the Dodgers, and based on the aforementioned video, the Jays were, based on the jerseys that he was tossing on, one of the 3 teams at the end. And when the Jays pulled out, allegedly, that's when it was down to the Mets and the Dodgers. Connor, we'll start with you, King. What does this suggest about how aggressive the Blue Jays are being and what they're willing to spend. And do you see that translating into any other free agents? We can get into other signings later, but on surface, does this encourage you?
I don't know. Look, I think that the Bauer thing was nice. Once they got Springer, that really took them out of Bauer. Obviously, it's a big dollar amount for Springer, getting him at the contract that they got him at, but they had to give up a second round pick and $500,000 of international spend. It basically would have been the exact same thing to get Bauer. And I know that the Jays had already, balked at that idea of wanting to give that up again. So I even think just based on that, it was never really going to happen. But I think that if the Jays missed out on Springer, they could have very easily been that Mets or Dodgers team. Like, I think that they had serious interest, but they didn't really get there. So the landscape changed, right? Once we signed Springer and once the money was given to Semien, I think that the landscape changed a little bit. And then the Jays are now just trying to make, less massively impact moves, but moves that still will impact the team to a certain degree. It'll never be the Trevor Bauers, but not for this year anyways. But it is encouraging. I mean, he clearly had interest in the Jays and the Jays clearly had interest in him. So it was encouraging from that standpoint. I don't know what it's going to look like next year, but it is nice that we got Springer and we still had Bauer on the radar, right? You can never complain about arguably the top two free agents, one of them committing here and the other one being in the top three. I think that is encouraging sign that free agents are interested in, even with us not having a home yet, right? So
yeah, that's true.
I'll take that. Yeah, exactly.
There it is.
Exactly.
What do you got, Craig?
So I think it's intriguing the fact that they were actually serious with their offers, because like I said, to even be into the top three at the end there, that means they were literally ready to drop the check, right? It just happened to be a little bit more than they thought it would take probably. And at that point, I agree that this wasn't worth the ridiculous sum of money is what if you really look at it, Trevor Bauer has been, trending up, and he's a great pitcher. Don't get me wrong. But I'm very worried that really what he's peaked right now, right? This could be the best season he ever had with the Cincinnati Reds. And he'll be coming back to a more, mashing level of, division. What was really going on in the NL Central this past year? The Cardinals were on a downslide. The Cubs are not hitting like they used to because you didn't see Chris Bryant lighting up scoreboards and things like that. Him coming to the American League East would have looked a lot different. I really do think so. The fun part is I think we're going to see the equivalent of that with watching the Padres tee up on Trevor Bauer every few weeks. I just think that the Blue Jays were definitely in on it, and I think that's very interesting because I think that means regardless of whatever happens for the rest of this offseason, which I believe there's plenty of things coming still. There's still some glaring pitching issues on this team. How they managed to address that is a whole nother conversation. But this comes next free agent off season, guys. How does this not just get you excited for that piece of that where they are willingly ready to spend that money on somebody outside of George Springer? It would have been easy for them to say, yep, we got our big guy, run away, just like they did a million times in the past. Look at, like, you can think of it all the way back into the early 90s when we were good. Okay, they went out and bought Jack Morris on a steal of a deal. Okay, the next year they spent a ton of money on Dave Stewart and Paul Molitor, but it wasn't really like, one big name at a time. It was usually a sprinkling in a couple of names, and that's what sustained the great core that we ended up bringing in. If they're willing to spend money on Trevor Bauer money and they're thinking about that, this is spelled to me this wasn't a perfect fit and it wasn't worth the $40 million.
Yeah, where it has me excited, guys, is the fact that the last two off seasons they've gotten their number one targets, but they've been in on other guys, but they're not willing to overpay to get anybody who's not their top target. We've seen them overpay, and they said they overpaid to get George Springer. They were in on DJ LeMahieu, but he wasn't their number one target, so they were going to be like, with them, it's like, okay, if you sign elsewhere, take out somebody else's money, that's fine. This is the guy we're going to be aggressive for. It just also just signals to me there's still a lot of money left in the bank, and they're probably eventually going to get back up to 2015, 2016, and 2017 payroll levels, and that was near the top 10 in baseball, and there's still a lot of room to do so. But yeah, it is exciting. But as Craig and I think Connor, you said this too, there's still some holes that need to be filled. We're about a week or so, 2 weeks from pitchers and catchers reporting. So hopefully soon we see a resolution to these glaring holes in the rotation, because I don't want to bury the lead here. But right now on paper, it's not the greatest.
Yeah. And, I before we, dive into what could be when it comes to free agency, I do sort of want to dig a little bit. And because the response that I saw on Twitter was a little bit polarizing, if not a lot, it was very get rejected kind of feel to it. Like, all right, so if you're chasing, I don't know, whatever your flavor is, if you're chasing a male or a female or whatever, and that person's not into you, right? You're like, well, I didn't want to be with you anyway. Whatever, fuck off, right? And that seems like what the fan base of the Blue Jays were like with Bauer. It was like, well, I didn't want him anyway. He's kind of a dick, so fuck that guy. But if he joined the team, people would be like, this is a fantastic offseason. And I understand there's the whole MAGA thing. We've talked about that to death on this podcast. Let me just put it briefly. There are tons of baseball players on your favorite team that probably support Trump and you don't even know about it, right? And so just because Bauer may be out in the open about it, sure, but again, I just kind of want to put that aside and win a championship, right? And that's all I really care about, is winning a championship. What the players do in their free time and their core beliefs mean fuck all to me if they win me a championship. So at the end of the day, yes, did I expect Bauer to sign with the Jays ultimately? No, I thought it was going to be either the Dodgers and the Mets, and it came down to them just because, they had the money to do it. But I just can't see a scenario in which a fan base wouldn't want someone that would make, at least this year alone, if it was just this year, make this team better. Like, I don't know, Connor, I don't know if you have any feelings on that.
No, I think, look, I was in the, at first I was in the, I'm not down for Trevor Bauer camp. Like, I was, yeah, look, he blocked me on 2 accounts, man. He blocked me on the greatest account ever besides Jaybird podcast in Toronto Sports Views. And then he blocked me on my personal one because I attacked him there too. I said, you're a drone boy bitch, bro. Like, this was right before the playoffs. I was a little heated. He was chirping us, and I said, take a hike. Like, I was pissed. And he got sensitive, and he blocked me. It is what it is. But if you really examine the numbers, like, he's arguably, and I know the division was weak. I get that. Like, I'll be the first to say, look, he beat up on some pretty poor teams. But if you take a look at his numbers, you could honestly think he peaked, but for this year alone, at least, I think that he's got so much in the tank, and he's got the juice to do it. If you really wanted to make a push, you could do that. But that price tag is so high. Like, I completely agree. I completely agree with you guys. Like, 40 plus mil is just, oh my goodness. Like, I get he's great. Like, I get that, but I would feel uncomfortable tying that. Plus the draft pick compensation, plus international spend money, all gone. That's a lot. So, yeah, I think, look, I don't necessarily mind it for that price tag. If it was like super cheap, I'd be like, what the hell? But for that price tag, I'm good with it. Yeah.
Is he really as good as Garrett Cole, Justin Verlander? Did I miss something? Because that's the thing that really stands out to me with that payday. You're putting him in that elite class of pitcher, and I'm not trying to knock his stuff, but I just don't see him being that good. But maybe that's just my piece of this whole puzzle. If I'm going to spend that kind of money, I like where the offseason market looks next year and just grab the best pitcher you can possibly get. Like I said, the right fit kind of situation to throw that giant brick of money in.
Yeah, when it comes to Bauer, just final thoughts on that is,
Sure.
I'm and Adam, just to kind of build on what you were saying there about his MAGA support and belief, and he hasn't been very outward about that since 2016. So maybe, just maybe, I'll try to give him a little bit of credit. Maybe he grew up over the last 4 years, maybe not. But it was the harassment of females online that worried me way more than the whole
Right
thing. Because look, we found out about Josh Donaldson's MAGA beliefs when he was favoriting tweets after Trump won the election and stuff like that, and that like that went aside as soon as the season started and he started hitting home runs again. So I'm guessing that the first time Trevor Bauer would go out into a mound in a Blue Jay uniform and get them a win and pitch 7 or 8 innings and strike out 12 guys, it'd be like, holy shit, we got a great pitcher on our hands. But yeah, that's where I fall on it. Like, obviously, I don't support mega culture at all, or anybody who follows it. I think you're a dumbass if you do. But it's the harassment of women that I'm just like, yeah, that brings it to the point where it's a red flag for me, and I don't really want to entertain or get into that circus at all. I think they did themselves a favor, especially on the PR side, by not ensuring they got him and upping an offer to get him, especially when they preach the whole culture thing. So, yeah, that's kind of my final thoughts on it. He is a good pitcher. I'm not going to take away from that. The mega thing, I think, would be swept under the rug, especially because Trump's no longer president, and hopefully that whole thing dies down in another year or two. But yeah, the harassment of females is where I draw a line. I'm like, okay, I'm glad they didn't entertain that at all.
I feel you. And again, I don't want to beat a dead horse. At the end of the day, he's not a Blue Jay anyway. But look, when it comes to these controversial issues like his political leanings or his treatment of, or vernacular towards women, I look at it like this. Trevor Bauer, and I'm not excusing him, right? And this is not making an excuse for him. And I know this might be labeled as such. And if that's how you feel, I don't know what to tell you. But Trevor Bauer is, outwardly admitted to be sort of a troll on Twitter. So maybe this, what he says isn't necessarily what he means. And also we preach, and Brendan, you just touched on it. We preach about the culture that is built with this team and how Atkins and Shapiro have made it an effort to have a good culture. That's why Stroman's gone. Sanchez got traded. Osuna's gone. You got to trust that they knew Trevor Bauer, right? There's a relationship there. There's a history there. So maybe they know the quote unquote real Trevor Bauer. And if they were chasing after a person like this that could on paper disrupt the locker room, I don't think it necessarily would, but in fans' perspective, disrupt the locker room. You got to trust the judgment of Atkins and Shapiro. So in that regard, maybe it's a little overblown. Maybe we're putting too much stock into it, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It's a moot point. He's a Dodger, not a Blue Jay. We'll see him in the World Series. Let's move on to some free agents here. Now, you all alluded to it. There are some glaring holes in the Blue Jays roster, more specifically the starting rotation, and it comes at a premium. And right now we have Walker, Odorizzi, and Paxton, pretty much the top 3 available right now. These arms would be extremely valuable for the Jays. The rotation needs to be beefed up. If it's obvious to us, the 4 of us here, it's obvious to the front office. And if we're to believe that the Jays may have been aggressive with Bauer at a time, either before or after Springer, whatever, it leads us to believe that the Jays have the means and the money to sign at least one of those 3. So Brendan, what's the holdup? Right? You figure once Bauer got signed, Walker would have been the next shoe to drop for the Jays. Is it the currently constructed rotation that we have to look forward to in game 1, or the Jays going to make moves, or hey, Francisco Liriano might come back?
Oh God.
Game on.
Yeah, I saw the Liriano thing. I'm like, interesting. I sure damn hope that's for the bullpen, which I'm sure it is. But I'm not sure what the holdup is because Bauer's signed now. He's off the market, and that was clearly the best pitcher there. And then I think we've nailed the next best 3 is Paxton, Taijuan Walker, and Jake Odorizzi. I mean, I'd expect them to sign soon. This just seems like a case of where it was with DJ LeMahieu. It's like, we're going to offer you something that is fair, and you can come and take it, and the offer won't be taken off the table. And I think that's what they're doing with Taijuan Walker, to be completely honest, because me personally, I think they're actually trying a little harder for Odorizzi for some reason. I don't think you go and offer him 3 years, $45 million or whatever it was last year, and that interest simply evaporates over the course of a year. I think right now Odorizzi is priority number 1. And look, we could be totally off. We just run a podcast here, but that's my thoughts on it. I'd expect them to sign soon, especially because they need to know where they're going to be playing with pitchers and catchers reporting in a week and a half. So, and look, the 3 that you put in the agenda and that I have open here on my other monitor, Paxton is the one that I want the least, even though he's Canadian. It'd be a good Canadian story, but I just don't think his arm's going to stay on. And I don't think it kind of like the signing of, who was it that they added to the rotation not too long ago? Anyways, I'm blanking on who it was.
Matt Latos.
No.
Never
Josh
say that
Johnson.
name again.
Josh Johnson.
Why am I blanking on it? It was this past off season. We talked about it a week. Steven Matz. Paxton and Matz would be the exact same addition for me. Guys who had more instability and uncertainty than stability. Whereas Walker seems to be kind of in the middle because he's had a pretty bad injury history, but he was really good last year. And to me, Odorizzi is unspectacular, but he's not terrible. So at least you know what you're going to get with Jake Odorizzi. So I think we'll see it soon. I sure hope that it's not this current projected 5, because we see it. You said that, Adam, but the projections, Pacoda came out yesterday and they see it too. They projected the Jays at 85 and 77. I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's great. Like, that's exciting over the course of a 162. And then I thought about it. I'm just like, no, this offense is ready to win. The pitching is not. If you add another starter, maybe you add 2, or a starter and a bullpen arm like Trevor Rosenthal, I think that goes up to 88, 89 wins, and then you're firmly in the discussion for second in the division and maybe even the first wild card.
What do you say, Craig?
I think this whole new division personally is just going to nuke itself. And I don't know about you, Brendan, but I have plenty of crystal ball going on right here. So, but if it came down to it, the guy I want the least actually is Jake Odorizzi. I made the joke, I think, last week or the week before, that would be like watching Jason Frazier pitch a whole game. And it would just drive me nuts because I'm going to be literally sitting on the edge of my seat the whole time, because he'll walk the occasional guy or give up 2-3 hits in a row and the bases are low, and he's always wiggling out of trouble. It's the guy I see, Jake Odorizzi. I've seen him as an escape artist in all his career. And I don't think it's because he's doing anything wrong. It's just he doesn't have that stuff that really overpowers anybody, which is why I tend to lean toward James Paxton a little bit, even if he is starting to look better. I'll give you that kind of like I'm barely edging out Odorizzi with Paxton. But right now, I have to pull the trigger on Taijuan Walker. And I'm making that happen any freaking way I possibly can if I'm in this front office, because he's been here already. We know what we're getting. Right. James Paxton, you could get a guy that might have pushed for a Cy Young award, but that is the highest of ceilings for him right now, right? He's coming back from an injury. Yes, everything's supposedly good, and apparently he looked really, really good in he did like an exercise for a bunch of people, 3 weeks ago, something like that, and he looked really good where all his stuff was breaking well and he was throwing the ball hard. It's still that, yeah, you're coming back from an injury, right? We have a couple guys in our minor league system that could be just as good as him, and Eric Pardinho example, coming back from and having just coming out and throwing fire, or anybody for that matter. Or maybe if you were in that ballpark, you could have kept Sean Reed Foley and had the same guy that James Paxton could turn out to be. It really could be any of that. I think I forgot to mention that last week too, guys. One thing we got out of that trade too is we actually got down to the 40-man roster by trading Diaz and Sean Reed Foley, because right now we are currently at 40, period, ready to go into spring training. But I would rather, like I said, go after Paxton or, like I said, no brainer in Taijuan Walker. After that, I almost put the Odorizzi on anybody you can fill in that ballpark with depth, because I don't want to give him any more than a 1-year deal. I really don't.
Connor, what say ye, and who do you prefer? And tell me what his ERA is. Go ahead.
There it is.
The ERA king is speaking. No, I can't. Look, hold on a second. Before I ever discuss ERA on this show, I'm just going to crack that.
A claw.
I'm transitioning. I'm really excited for Bud Light Seltzers, by the way.
Yes.
That fires me up. Welcome to Canada.
I promise.
Welcome to Canada, where we don't get anything ever until like 5 years after the state.
Well, that's why you got to get on our secret, me and Adam's secret smuggling operation, is sending White Claws to Brendan over the board.
Yeah, I saw Brendan's got the ketchup chips ready to go back. Like that's right. That's the way to go. Hey, okay, perfect.
We got this all figured out on your Blue Jay connection.
Exactly. Yeah. Look, the thing for me, if all of those pitchers are healthy, it's Paxton. 1,000,000%. If all of them are healthy, it's Paxton. Do I think he's healthy? No. Like that's where I sit. Paxton to me is the biggest risk, but has the highest upside. If we're talking about it that way, that's how I feel. In a year where you really want to push and you have to choose one, it can't be Paxton for me. Exactly. I like the familiarity of Taijuan Walker, but I also do like Jake Odorizzi. Like I wouldn't be upset with any of these. if you could get two, I would take one of Walker and Odorizzi and Paxton, right? Like there is a possibility, right, to maybe, depending on what the price tag is, and we've seen that Jays will, maybe there's a possibility to get two out of these guys, right?
You ducked out.
Is this? Oh, whoops! I'm back. Okay,
You're back.
Yeah, you can repeat.
Okay. Shit, internet.
Damn live shows.
Rewind. Skirt
Yeah.
back. Okay. Having two of these guys, like we've seen the Jays' willingness to spend. I think that they would be interested in it. But either of those guys, 1, 2, or 3, become our number 2 starter on this rotation.
Mm-hmm.
That's how poor this rotation is right now. It's not great. Like if we're talking the level that the lineup is in and the level that the starting rotation is in, it's like this. Like it is a massive gap. There needs to be additions. It's got to be one of those guys. If I had to choose one, I would probably, because of the familiarity, but you could go Walker. You could go to Rizzy Paxton.
Yeah, I gotta lean Walker on this. Well, I think of the 3, I think Odorizzi is going to be the most expensive, and I think Paxton's going to be the cheapest option.
I agree.
So that being said, just shoot for the middle, and it's I think the familiarity, as you've all touched on, is a nice leg up. So if we're talking shooting in the middle, probably like a 2-year deal with an option, I would say, just to sweeten it. I don't know. If they were willing to go, would you say, Brendan, 3 at 45 for Odo last year? I can see them going like maybe 3 at 32, maybe for Walker, if that includes the option.
That'd be nice.
Or if you just want to make it an 11 a year, 33. I know that's like sort of a slight overpay, but it's not. I mean, it's what you got to do to spend for this rotation as it is anyway. I think it will be a little bit closer to what they offered last year for Odorizzi this year. It might be at like 3 at 40 or something like that. And again, it's just money. I don't care. Sure, let's spend the money if you want. Buy them both. But I feel like if they get Paxton, it wasn't their first choice and they're not really chasing it. And it is because the aforementioned 2 sort of floated away somewhere else. It seems like Walker has a desire to come back to the Jays, and that's rare. And we've talked about this on the show. You got to capitalize on that. You got to take advantage. I don't know why they're not. I don't know what the holdup is. I was hoping maybe if there was a Bauer deal or something, there was a wink and a nudge between the Jays and Walker saying, "Hey, let's get this out of the way, and then we'll sign you." I was hoping, knock on desk, that his attitude was, "Hey, this is the deal I want. I want to be with the Jays, but do your other shopping first." That's just not how free agency works. This guy needs to, get paid and to earn his keep. So I don't know. I think at the end of the day, the likelihood of the player we're going to get, if any of them, will probably end up being Paxton. But I'm just hoping that they're aggressive and they're not going to get outbid for someone like Walker. I don't see a scenario in which Odorizzi is going to play. I think he's just going to end up. Aren't the Twins chasing him again?
Probably.
Yeah, he's probably just going to go back to Minnesota.
Yeah,
the Twins are in a similar ballpark as us too.
Yeah.
Just enough offense to need that pitching. Because they're in the very similar, because we have Ryu and they have Aida, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One really good standout guy.
To me, is like the Yankees signing Corey Kluber, and it's why I wanted to stay away from Kluber, because I feel that they're just the exact same guy at this point. They're guys with high ceilings, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. There's a chance that Corey Kluber could hit that ceiling and be really damn good, which would suck. But at the same time, there's a chance that Kluber's arm might fall off, and that's basically what all 3 of us have just said about James Paxton. So the reward could be there, but I think there's a higher chance for disaster being there, which is why, at least to me, he's at the bottom.
Can I make a fun point? It's going to probably spawn a whole nother conversation. So what if you do pay Paxton on a 1-year deal and give him a put up or shut up deal, kind of like you gave Kirby Yates, right? Give him whatever the hell he's asking for, 1 year, show me what you got. What's the worst case scenario? Come All-Star break, we have to fuse and dip into our plethora of minor league talent and trade for somebody. If that's what pushes us over the hurdle, you have a chance then to, take and run with. Maybe you get James Paxton 3 years ago when he's throwing no hitters Rogers Center. But
are we in the
It is what
game
it is.
though? Are we in the game come the All-Star break? If say Paxton gets hurt by mid-May, which isn't outrageous, right? Given the injury history. Are you comfortable relying on what we've got to keep us afloat in an opportunity? Like, let's just say 500. Do you think the Jays would be 500 by the All-Star break with the rotation that they have?
Yeah, I think right now our offense is going to carry this team, and I think we have a 500 team because of this amount of offense that we are picking up. And yes, I do think that. And that in the worst case scenario, per your beard conversation here, we have Matt Shoemaker on speed dial, right?
I hope so.
No, Ben Nicholson-Smith said today they're not after him, and he's mulling a few different options.
He's going to go to Boston, dude.
Fine.
He's going to Boston. I'm telling you, he's
because
going
he
to
can probably
Boston.
start. Yeah,
and he
either
just
that or end up in Miami
looks
or
like
something.
it. Yeah, he just looks like a Red Sox. I'm telling you, he's going to Boston. Mark my words.
Well,
you heard it first.
They need a new beard after Pedroia retired, right?
That's right.
I'm telling you, they need something in that fan base.
Is he calling up Mike Napoli or what? What's going on here?
Party at Napoli's. So I want to make another joke here too. That Scott Mitchell tweeted out his first rotation projections for the whole system earlier today, and he literally has it in our number 2 spot. Your guess is as good as mine.
Robbie Ray.
It's got to be Ray.
Yeah, right now it would be because he has him in the 3 spot, but he's hoping, I think, like we are all hoping that we are going to get somebody to fill that number 2 spot. And hopefully it's one of these 3 guys we were talking about. But
yeah,
completely open to a trade. Just saying.
I still hope that they're working the phones and trying to get something. Here's something that kind of like what you were saying, Craig, could lead to a debate. When you go back and look at how the 2015 rotation opened up, knowing that the offense carried that team until they got David Price and Marco Estrada just burst onto the scene, would you rather be opening it up with the 2015 rotation or the rotation that you could have on paper right now? Because in my mind, the rotation that you're going into right now is a little bit better than the one in 2015, and they managed to be right around 500 by the trade deadline. Any thoughts there?
That was minus Stroman, right? So you had Dickey,
Burley.
Estrada wasn't in the rotation at that point.
No,
right?
Estrada didn't come in until late May.
So it was Burley, Dickey. Who else was in that rotation?
Drew Hutchison, Daniel Norris, and Aaron Sanchez.
I'm taking that rotation over this one, dude.
Really?
Yeah. Especially at the time.
Upside.
At the time. Think
Get
about
that
at the
shit
time.
outta
Think
No,
about
get out of here. This is why I'm putting this on camera.
Hold on.
Get
Listen,
out of here, bro.
You had 200 innings from Burley. Guaranteed 200 innings from Burley. Okay? Dickey, okay, fine. But, like, I'd rather have Dickey than Matz. I'd rather have Sanchez right now than Ray. Like 2015 Sanchez over Robbie Ray right now?
Oh, 2015 Sanchez wasn't very good.
But he wasn't. Who are you relying on? You're relying on upside for Ray. At least Aaron Sanchez had potential. He hadn't even reached his ceiling yet. It was an unknown. I feel like we're gambling a lot with Robbie Ray right now.
Oh,
and
totally.
And then we got
that's my fear.
Like, what do we got? At least we had some stock in. Like you knew what you were going to get from Dickey. Like you knew what you were going to get from Burley.
200 innings.
Yeah, you had
200 innings.
My reason for choosing 2020 right now or 2021 going into it is Ryu, because by far and away he's the best option of the bunch. And then I think you could, let's just say that 2020 was an anomaly for Tanner Roark, and hopefully he's a smidge better. Then you're getting close to maybe a high to mid 4 ERA, and that's what you got from R.A. Dickey.
ERA.
So there's your R.A. Dickey.
There you go.
And then Ray and Norris, both guys who couldn't hit the zone.
Connor's
Sanchez. So I don't know.
Buried with his Red Sox hat.
Put it this way. All right. In 2015, we're looking at this in hindsight. In 2015, Aaron Sanchez, we were banking on him to be the shit. We were banking on Stroman and Sanchez to be this 1-2 punch for years to come. We were banking on this. And I'm not saying that Nate Pearson, we were looking at him and Sanchez in the same light. Obviously, Pearson has more potential. Obviously, the ceiling's higher. Obviously, he's more of a highly touted prospect in comparison to where Sanchez was at the time. But still, in that 2015 season, walking in, we were banking on upside when it came to Sanchez because we saw like a progression in his development, and we thought he would be able to be a sustainable option in that rotation. Sort of like what we're seeing with Pearson, but we're a lot more confident because the stuff is a lot better. That being said, when you look at the unknowns that the rotation is dealing out now, outside of Ryu and Pearson, that's at best. We still don't even know. He might be a bust. It's possible he could be a bust, right? So we have Ryu. That's it.
My upside guy that you're saying Aaron Sanchez is Robbie Ray, because I do think we're going to get a better Robbie Ray.
I hope so.
I think we're going to get the continued what we had at the end of the season from Robbie Ray.
That
the last few weeks.
I agree.
And I'm completely fine with that. That's a Robbie Ray that's got around or just under 4 ERA and could rack up 180 innings. I'm fine with that.
But look, we get
unfortunately his whip is going to be closer to 1.5, but that's
for sure. Look, we get into these discussions and have this, but the common sentiment is, not to go down a rabbit hole any further, and I'm not trying to jack the
please do.
from you, Adam, is that the rotation needs to improve. It absolutely does. For a team on paper with this offense that's supposed to be more than playoff caliber, the rotation as of right now is not.
I think if the price is right, I think Jays get 2 of these guys.
That would be awesome.
I think they realize that, like, they have to. No, like, looking at this team, you have to get, like, we're talking about fucking Tanner Roark, man. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing?
I just warm up my arm.
Tanner's dog shit, man. I'm sorry. I that guy needs to go. Ship him off. I don't know who decided to sign him to that deal. They should be fired. They should be fired. That was a brutal signing. I can't believe that.
But Connor, the diesel train just needs to get going, man. That's what he said.
Okay.
Yeah, after he gives up 6 runs in the first inning.
Yeah, after he walks 5 guys in a row against the Red Sox at the start last year. Oh, I'm just warming up, man. Get me into the 5th or 6th after giving up 8 runs. I'm ready.
That's it, boys.
Was he the one last year that, like, gave a passive aggressive interview?
Yes.
Okay, that was him. Yeah, and then he just got destroyed his next out. I think he only lasted like 3 innings. Yeah, I remember that. But all right, so this is a guy that's making $12 million.
Thing when you're done.
Can we talk about maybe the possibility of acquiring David Price? Because I don't hate it.
Oh, I'm
actually in love with that idea, because in all reality, the Dodgers have a surplus now, right? And they don't know what they're getting from him either.
Exactly.
You almost lump Price into that same ballpark with, he's healthy, but he's in that same area as like Paxton is right now. You don't know what you're going to get, right? He could show up and have a dead arm for the first 2 months of the season because he hasn't thrown.
Yeah.
But in all reality, I love that idea.
Outside of Ryu and Pearson, is there anybody in the projected rotation that you feel is better than Price?
No.
Better than Price, no.
Okay. No. Yeah. And this is a guy that you'd be paying $16 million compared to Roark's 12. Okay, so give me the $4 million upgrade that will probably be worse than $4 million. And what's even better is the Red Sox are paying some of it too. So
yes,
make that a little chip on the shoulder and make him come back to the division and stick it to him, right?
That's right. Welcome.
There's one pitcher before we get off the pitching topic. There's one pitcher that I'm actually super excited for this year, and that's Julian Merryweather. I think that he has the potential this year to take that.
Take nothing, apparently.
Oh my god!
Go back, rewind.
Hold on. He has the potential.
Why?
Potential.
Why
this
is it
year
when I
to take
talk?
That.
Why is it when I talk? You
did it again.
Oh my goodness! Why?
It's that $500,000 condo internet that you got, Connor.
that Red Sox.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I need a new hat. This hat's ruining me. This hat is gone. No, I'll keep it short since my internet does not want me to talk. He just scratched the surface last year. We saw what he can do. If we can get sustained from him, I think that I like what he can bring. I just want to see more than 30, 50 innings from him. But I like what I've seen there. I think he has the juice to get something going in the rotation.
Okay. I don't disagree with that. I'm down for whatever. Craig, you said you had a point you wanted to make?
I have a couple interjections. First,
sure, yeah.
Rocks on Twitter is mentioning that he thinks that Steven Matz could possibly be this year's Marco Estrada. Very undersold. Nice. Kind of.
I would like that.
I get the idea. I really do, because in all reality, he relies on his changeup a lot to be successful too.
True.
So I don't think it's Marco Strato level, but you never know. The right tweaks, things could happen. Get some magic out of it. I thought this might be a good time to switch in one of our, more, prevalent followers' question. One of her sister with a bolter, longtime listener. Unfortunately, she just had to go to work. So guess what? She will be listening to this later. Out of what we have right now on this 40-man roster, who is the guy that is probably not going to be the guy that breaks on the 40-man roster come the end of spring training or even in the next few weeks?
Derek Fisher.
Hold on.
Yeah,
is he even on the thing still? I didn't even.
He's there.
Just boggles my mind.
He's out of options.
He is on 40.
He is still there officially, number 23 still, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, there's nobody else, and it's not even close.
So outside of him, because like I said, there were some other guys in this ballpark I thought might be interesting to hear of.
Derek Fisher's that dude that you do in a fantasy draft that you take pretty high, and you're just you don't want to drop him, but he's so underperforming, and you're like, I can't let this guy go because it makes me look like a fucking loser. But like, you gotta let him go, man. You screwed up. Let him go.
You gotta go.
This is like why every year at the end of my fantasy football draft, just because I know I blitzed everybody in the first few rounds, I just say I'm taking Tim Tebow for the shits and giggles of it.
Nice.
Tim Tebow. I want Tim Tebow. Why isn't Tim Tebow here?
Put in Tim Tebow, goddammit, NFL fantasy.
Right
you just draft Andrew Luck with the last pick every year and just hope
he unretired.
Yes.
Chad Ochocinco still plays football, right?
There you go.
He did play football. That's not too long ago.
That's right. I forgot he did that. But
CFL.
I thought it was interesting. Some of these other guys. Do you think Shun Yamaguchi breaks the 40-man?
So that's the guy who I was going to say is the first on the chopping block after Derek Fisher, and even Scott Mitchell put it out a few weeks ago that that is a strong possibility. It's only $3 million, so that's one you could easily eat. If it's not him, then it's got to be via trade, right? Because they still have 5 catchers on their 40-man roster.
I was going to say it's got to be Reese.
I'm looking at Reese.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to drop one of these catchers, Riley Adams still has a lot of upside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what you're really going to get out of him. And he actually has the flexibility to play some other positions too, which is, the Blue Jays' new hard on, right? Where can you play? Where can you play? Then you got Danny Jansen and Kirk. They're not going anywhere. And you have one of the brightest young talents in catching in baseball in Gabriel Moreno. So you're not going looking at him unless you're trading him, like Brendan alluded to. So it really comes down to there. And, everybody else after that, you're not dropping. Even like Otto Lopez is one of our extra infielders on our 40-man roster. He has so much upside. It's not even funny. The guy puts barrel to the ball every 5 freaking seconds when he's in the bat. So there's nowhere else to hide. I agree with you. I think Sister will be happy with that answer, fellas. So thank you. I just thought that was a good time to squeeze that in because we were talking about roster moves and stuff anyway.
For sure.
Yeah, let me to get my 2 cents on Yamaguchi. I do think in a perfect world you would want to be able to cut him, but right now with how the Jays are constructed with both starting rotation and bullpen, arms are at a premium. Right. And you sort of, there were moments or strides that Yamaguchi was okay last season, and he did cough up a bunch, but you're sort of banking on upside there. I think the obvious one has to be Fisher. It has to be, especially with the surplus of outfielders. The fact that I think 3 times he's gotten hit in the face with the fly ball. It's time to go. It's just the experiment didn't work. Let's just move on from Derek Fisher. I'm done. Jeez. All right. Is there anything else you guys want to touch on when it comes to the rotation and possible acquisitions? Are you good?
No.
I refer to last week's episode title. Pete Walker isn't this good to fix that. Just saying. I love him.
Let's hope.
But not happening.
All right. So you guys sort of alluded to it. Actually, Craig, you did with you want to play. Where can you play? Where can you play? Let's talk about utility guys. Let's talk about Marlon Gonzalez. It's kind of hard to see a clear spot for the switch hitting utility man, but the Jays are kind of pursuing him, I guess, or there's interest. And if you squint really hard, I guess there's spots for him, maybe. Craig, what do you think here? Just another case of the Jays being quote unquote interested in a player and it may just be due diligence, or do you think this is not illegitimate? There's no way. There's no room.
Kick the tires. But that's really all I feel like this is. I'm not going to lie. The reason they went back and grabbed Richard Urania off the waiver wire is because they thought that he could be that guy. You know, he doesn't have the bat that Gonzalez has, but what has he really done since he left Houston? Maybe it was all the, you know, magic down there that was, you know, helping him out. Just saying. But as far as it goes, the last few years, he hasn't looked like the same player, and he has looked as like, okay, he's that guy that's just a win above replacement at wherever he ends up playing, right? I don't see how he fits into this, and not to mention, we're already having enough problems filling out where we're going to have guys anyways. You know, I keep seeing people saying that Travis Shaw's still got a place on this team.
Yeah.
Which I find harder and harder to believe every day, but it's just what it is. And he's not showing on the 40 man right now.
He's a free agent.
Oh yeah, Shaw's a free. No, I
thought he had. Did they decline the option?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't realize that. So, but anyways,
I think he's still out there.
Is he
so
free?
I'm just going to put this out there then. Some highly ranked MLB guy, not outside this collective, said that he was still on the Blue Jays roster. I find that.
Oh no.
That was like a week ago. I saw him. Like, really? He's still here? I was losing my mind for a second. But in all reality, guys, I could see Santiago Espinal running away with that kind of a job as the super utility guy, and I really think he could even play some outfield. He's got the just pure athleticism. Mm-hmm. And we saw what we can get from him. Why would you pay for something else? And you know, Marwin Gonzalez thinking it'd be cheap, and it really just messes up trying to find him at bats and whatnot. With what we have really going on right now with what is 4 outfielders and 2 good first basemen in Vlad and Rowdy, and having to find at bats for, you know, Kevin Biggio now too, because he's going to be moving all over the place. This is just putting another weird piece into this puzzle, and I don't think it really gains you anything.
Brennan.
Yeah, I'm going over and trying to place everybody on this 40-man roster in my head about where they open up. And right now, after placing everybody in the infield places, the only people who remain is Rowdy, but he could be DH. And then Otto Lopez, who's not going to be at the big leagues, and then Espinal, as Craig said. So whether or not they believe in Espinal at this point could be a signal into their interest of Marwin Gonzalez. I do think that the ability of him playing the outfield is definitely a huge plus. But then again, when you think about that, the only way him in the outfield makes any sense is if Grichuk, Lourdes, Teoscar are off of this roster. Right. And at this point, I'm not sure if that's going to happen. And even then, we've really hyped up a few podcast episodes this offseason. It's Jonathan Davis. I would love if Jonathan Davis was the full-time 4th outfielder, because I think he's perfect for that role at this point. And even then, they still have Josh Palacios, who they're really high on the 40-man roster too. So I think the interest is legitimate. But I think it really would depend on a trade happening for them to pull the trigger on the signing. So at that point, I think he ends up going elsewhere.
Connor?
Well, let's see if my internet wants to cooperate. Test. Am I good?
Slow, segmented sentences.
No, I'm still here. Okay, great. Look, I think Dave Hudgens is the key here. I think that if Marwin Gonzalez comes to the Jays, it's because he said that he can help. He knows what he needs to do with Marwin Gonzalez, and that would be the main driving force, I think, for this organization to bring in Marwin Gonzalez, because they consulted with Dave on this. I think he's honestly a big key factor in this signing. I love utility guys. Like, I love Ben Zobrist. I love Marwin Gonzalez. Like, those were the guys. Like, I think that if the Jays got Ben Zobrist at the deadline, they would have won. They would have won the World Series. I'm 100% convinced of that, and I will die. I will die with that thought. I do not care. I will perish with that thought. But he could be a reclamation project. Does it make sense at this time? It might have made sense last year. I don't really know if it makes sense this year. You guys talk about guys like Espinal, Jonathan Davis, a perfect 4th outfielder. I'm so done with Grichuk on this team. It's not even funny. That guy needs to go. And if you're gonna debate me between Rowdy Tellez and Randall Grichuk, you can take a hike. So I'm not having that debate. Like, it is Rowdy Tellez 1,000,000% out of 1,000,000%.
Trade them both.
Captain Clutch.
Get out of here! Get out of here!
Remember that offer I had for him before the show? He lost it.
Yeah.
Sell high.
Damn. How to lose that bag in about 20 minutes. No, but honestly, I think I do like Tellez. I've always liked Tellez, and Adam and I have kind of gone back and forth on him a little bit, but I've always stuck with I'm in the Rowdy Tellez camp. I think he had a fantastic year last year. Will he repeat that this year for a full season? Probably not, but I still like his upside more than Randall Grichuk, especially as that DH guy. If that's going to be his main spot, I think he's a perfect fit there.
Only lefty in this lineup.
Yeah, true.
Just saying.
But that's also why Erwin Gonzalez could be key too, right? Like that there's that impact because he can go both ways, right? So
Right.
I mean, there's that impact of having potentially another option on the left, but we do need a more balanced. If that's one thing about this lineup, it just needs to be a little bit more balanced on the left side. But
Can I make the joke here about the whole Gonzalez thing?
Sure.
Jonathan Villar 2.0. He did it. He said it. Sorry, couldn't help it.
No.
It just reeks of that to me. It's like something you can get excited about just enough.
Yeah.
And then find out, oh yeah, by the way, he's really only this good.
Now he's the Mets problem.
No.
So look, I don't want to hop on Tellez too much, but I know it was fun to watch. I'm not taking anything away from his upside and his breakout season. Just bear in mind the majority of those numbers were in a minor league park. Look at his away numbers. That's all I'm going to say. I need to see it in a in the Rogers Center. I need to see it there. I don't necessarily think he can do it. If he can, great. Prove me wrong, bro. Fine. But I think this is an enormous sell-high opportunity for the Blue Jays right now for someone that needs power hitting. Because if you remove Rowdy Tellez from this offense, I don't think it suffers. I really don't.
Hey man, if the offer's there, like there's really no untouchable besides like Bo Bichette really on this team or Nate Pearson, right? Like those are the two. If
and Kevin Biggio.
No.
Okay, man.
No.
I think those are the two untouchables, right? Like, of course, if the offer makes sense, I'm fine with it. But and it is a good sell high opportunity. I won't disagree with you. I think that if there's going to be a time to sell on Rowdy, it would be now. I would just like to see what he can do this year, and I don't think it hurts this team. I don't think that what you would get back for Rowdy is really going to make too much of a difference. So I would just like to ride it out.
I hope he proves me wrong. But all right, we're going long here, so let's finish up with the final topic. I do want to talk about the MLB and the MLBPA, how they reached an agreement for the 2021 season. Pretty much everything we saw last season, with the exception of the universal DH. So you're going to see 7-inning double headers, extra innings a man on second to start off. And the meat and potatoes I want to get into is the health and safety protocols that were agreed upon. Protocols include individuals are barred from having indoor gatherings of 10 or more people. Outside of games, of course. Obviously, when you're in a dugout, you can't really control that. They cannot eat indoors at a restaurant or dining areas. They cannot be at bars, lounges, clubs, or like establishments, strip clubs. Fitness.
What, no hot wings?
No hot wings.
Fitness.
Thank God Harden's not a baseball player, eh? Otherwise, he'd be pissed.
He'd be screwed. Fitness and wellness centers not affiliated with the club or the MLB. They can't go to like a Planet Fuck This. Entertainment venues, they can't go. Gaming and other venues, including bowling alleys, arcades, casino, pool halls. Road teams are not permitted to leave their hotel other than for team activities at the team facility or ballparks, or for medical reasons. They can leave, obviously, if there's a medical emergency, or if they want to go on like an outdoor walk or exercise of some sort. Now, remember, this was agreed upon by the MLB and the MLBPA. This isn't the MLB implementing this onto the players. This was a joint agreement. And moreover, any ball club can supplement these rules. They can't subtract from what I just said to you. They can make them even stricter if they choose to, but they can't take away. So 6'4" King, you are a guest. You can finish up the show with the final topic. Are you optimistic that this season can run smoothly? Because look, last year, minus a couple of hiccups, and in hindsight, they are a couple, in the World Series, that wasn't the best look, but it was a success, right? They got through the games. They had to cut a few, whatever, postpone. It was a success. This seems to be a little bit more strict. They seem to have a blueprint given what happened with the NFL, given what is happening with the NBA. It seems like they're on a path in hockey, but yeah.
My Sabres are fucked. Just saying.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
New Jersey
yeah.
Devils.
You and 10 other teams in the league. Like that's talk about a league in shambles right now. It's the NHL.
Yeah, exactly.
What is hockey? Anyways, Connor, Connor, are you optimistic? Look, spring training, pitchers and catchers for the Jays report February 18th. Full squad workouts start the 22nd. They're doing the pods now in spring training in Florida for the Grapefruit League. I don't necessarily know what that means, but they're trying. Are you optimistic?
I mean, this is the second time through this for the MLB. No other league has gone through it more than once, right? I think that every league has to iron out their own unique set of wrinkles and challenges. The MLB was the first one to really say, we're going to go a full season with doing X, Y, and Z, with full travel, essentially, besides, the Jays in Canada. It was all travel across the states. And yes, the Cardinals got absolutely ruined at the beginning of the year. Like, they played 3 games, everyone else was at like 50. And they had like 3 games played. They played like 1 million doubleheaders, and that was it. But to be honest, I mean, they did a pretty decent job. Like, considering everything that was in there, and when the Cardinals went down, everyone was like, "There's no chance this season resumes. Like, there is 0 chance." But lo and behold, we made it through, like you said, to the World Series. Justin Turner basically gave a big fuck you to MLB and was like, "I'm gonna smooch my girl after I got COVID," and that was it. And then everyone just got COVID. So
season's over.
Yeah, season's over. Like, Rob Manfred could kick rocks. I don't care. See ya. But honestly, I think that they have the blueprint to do it. If there is, and it's so weird to say this, if there's a league right now that I trust to make it through a full season, it's the MLB, which is really bizarre.
Saying something
really bizarre. Because look,
if the NFL can,
Manfred is the worst commissioner in sports.
Yes.
But they've done something here. Like, the NFL had so many teams just down and out. We all know that through fantasy, just players were like this and that, and the uncertainty was crazy. But they're lucky because they're only a week sport, right? Like, they're once a week, right? And that's usually it. The NHL is brutal right now. Like, there's close to 10 teams out currently with COVID. Like, they are not playing games, postpone games. I don't know how they're going to make it through. And the NBA is literally sending dudes out playing games while they got COVID. Like, what is Adam Silver doing? I don't understand. Like, that is something that we didn't see in the MLB. Like, if you got traced, if you got tested, out, you're gone. Like, don't even touch the field. So I think that the implementation's in place, and with the agreement between the MLB and the MLBPA, I'm actually pretty confident, considering that this season there will be COVID cases, but this season going through will go through as a success. But that's just me.
I agree. I just think it's hilarious that the one thing that's getting overlooked on this fact is apparently we're taking steps back on the DH thing.
Yeah,
Just
no
saying.
universal DH,
Yeah, that's
all the things that went well with what we're talking about here in the Major League Baseball last year, and the DH thing being finally in the NL, and everybody's like, "Oh, this is great." And then there's a few people like, "Don't worry, it might not stay this way." How is the game any better with or worse? I didn't understand, so it just kills me. But going back to the health and safety stuff, yeah, exactly, I get it. But you're talking about ways to make the game more interesting. Well, don't let Trevor Bauer hit. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
But going back to the health and safety stuff, I think it's hilarious that I'm guessing this is the reason that Travis Shaw is actually still a free agent. Just saying.
Don't lock me up. I can't stay in my room.
Exactly. The thing that shocks me the most about this whole thing is I just can't believe the players agreed to it. We talked about this at length, and these are a bunch of people that obviously when they're traveling, they want to be able to go around and do whatever they want. But the other reality to that whole situation is there's still not a normal back. Things aren't open. They just opened up bowling alleys for the first time like ever here in New York, like 2 weeks ago. So yeah, okay, bowling alleys are restricted. Well, they're not open in half of the states. So what else are you gonna do?
I mean, my quick counter to that before you guys continue would be like, they didn't get their full paychecks last year, right? Like, it was prorated, and that's the thing. Money talks. When these boys are making $30 million contracts and they're cut down to 12, right? I want that 18 mil back in my bag, right? Like, I want that in my bank account, right? I think money talks, and at the end of the day, it's like, I'll sit in a hotel room for 3 days if that means I can collect my bag, right? I think for those guys, they'll take it. But I do agree with you. I just think that's what the incentive is there for the players.
It makes sense, especially when a lot of these things, hey, you get to hang out with the same group of 30 guys for the whole rest of the season anyway, so you might as well get comfy with them.
Yeah.
Hence the reason why I think the Blue Jays are in a really good standing. We really didn't change a lot from last year. These guys have gotten way too super comfortable with each other, right? Why not ride it out for another season and let the chemistry flow, right?
Yeah, it's I agree with Connor. I really do think that they're in a pretty good position. Plus, in both Canada and the United States, let's not forget that vaccine shipments to both countries are going to be increasing over the next few months. Even in Canada, we're so far behind the 8 ball with vaccine rollouts. Connor, you know this, being in Ontario.
You guys are producing it more now, finally, too, is what I read.
Yeah,
Typical.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're so far behind on that. But even Trudeau the other day said that they're still on track to get their 20 million in Q2, which is awesome because that's almost all of Canada. So, and I'm pretty sure I saw the other day that the US is getting 50 million more than expected, earlier than they expected. So I think they're going to be in good shape. And it still would not surprise me if by after the All-Star break, the Jays are playing at the Rogers Center, and that fans will be able to go in some sort of capacity, maybe 20%, 30 or 40 just to start, but maybe even by September or playoffs, depending on how the vaccine rollout goes, that people will be able to go to games and sell out crowds. I fully expect, just saying, the NFL will operate without any sort of fear, and there will be fans packing stadiums again for the next NFL season. So I think baseball's in a good spot. It's going to be April and May that they have to be very vigilant to make sure that there's as few postponements as possible. And then after that, once it comes to summertime, you're outside. We saw what happened this past summer with COVID. Infections went down. So I think they will be able to pull it off as long as they're good in April and May.
I agree.
Yeah, you look at. Okay, what's up?
I was just gonna say, Brendan and I were still at the last Toronto actual Blue Jays home game.
It's true.
Just saying.
There you go.
Yeah, that was 500 days ago today.
Oh my God, you're killing me. How do you know that?
Who was it that posted it? It was Ben Wagner posted. This is a photo from last time I left the studio, 500 days ago.
Look, when you have the NFL, right, successfully had their season, and all things considered, like, I know a lot of people like to rag on the NFL. They're a bunch of blood-sucking monsters at various points, but
they just hate Goodell.
Yeah, we just feed that fantasy football giant here, but there's a lot more personnel when it comes to each NFL teams. They travel to the stadiums. They didn't have pods. They had their actual stadiums that they played in. And minus a couple hiccups here and there with Tennessee, Baltimore, Oakland, I think at some point had some hiccups. Cleveland, Pittsburgh. There was a handful of cases here and there, but it was way less detrimental than I thought. Sure, you were watching games on Wednesdays, but whatever, you're watching games
NFL on Wednesday.
Football's better than football.
Obviously, it's a lot easier when you're only playing one game a week. I understand that, and you have a lot more backups available. But I think if you follow that blueprint, I think in the beginning it's going to be a little rough for the MLB. Spring training might be a little bit of a clusterfuck, but once you get out of there and maybe heading into June, you might see a nice steady pace of games happening. You might see some fans being able to let into some stadiums. We'll see. But I do like the aggressive approach right now. I understand it's restrictive. I understand people have their thoughts on how people should be able to spend their time outside of work and whatnot. But you have to understand these are professional athletes. They signed a contract. And if this is what, as Connor was alluding to, if this is what it means to get that $30 million, I'm sure they're, I wouldn't say desperate for it, but they miss having that $30 million a year, right? They want that. So they're determined to play a full 162. I think they'll be able to get close to there. Would it surprise me if they end up scratching a game here and there? No, it wouldn't. Maybe they'll end it with some double headers at the end of the season like we see in minor leagues all the time. Craig, you know so well. It happens. And it being 7-inning games, whatever. I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic that we're going to see a full season. I'm optimistic. And Brendan, like you mentioned, there will be more and more vaccines rolled out. And we all know athletes are going to get it before anyone like you and I. It's just going to happen. And once that happens, you'll be able to roll without any issues. So,
Sports are the only real entertainment I ever have. Because, you guys know how it is. TV's been freaking bad.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Can I just request that the Jays keep playing their midweek games at 6:37 instead of 7:07?
Yes, that was my New Year's wish.
Yes.
My Christmas wish.
Yes.
please. I hate the 707s. 637 was so good. It ended at 9:30.
It's amazing what that half hour actually does.
I know it doesn't seem like much, but in the other time I really noticed it was when when they started the season at the Nationals and the game started at 6. I'm like, well, that's not enough time to transition from work, maybe get a workout in and cook dinner. But just that extra half an hour made a massive difference.
Oh yeah, I love it. All right, that is all the material I have planned. I know we ran a little long. Craig, is there any listener questions that you want to give out to us, or did we run through?
So another one from Sister with a Bolter that pointed out the fact that we all knew before the show, the Blue Jays are ranked now the number 3 minor league system in all of baseball, according to Baseball America, who is the prestigious version of your prospect stuff that you're going to get. And guys, are you really shocked by that ranking from what we're adding to this? And regardless of the fact that the guys have graduated off the list, like basically the whole new Blue Jays core and Biggio, Vlad, and Bo. So, and then not to mention Nate Pearson just slides in on that just a little bit still. But the Blue Jays also had, I think, 5 guys in the top 100. Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
6. It was 6.
Oh, it was
Although
6?
that was Keith Law's rankings. So never mind.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the actual Baseball America ones had 5, I believe, and the lowest ranked one was Alejandro Kirk. So that gives you an idea. I was gonna say
Kirk's got to be there, right? Because I'm not actually sure what the names are. So it's got Pearson, Kirk, SWR on there.
Yep.
Okay.
He's on there.
Martin.
Groshans,
I think, and then then obviously Kirk being the 5th.
Yeah. Okay.
And Martin, I think, was on
Martin.
Laws.
Yeah, and Martin.
Yeah.
Martin.
Yeah.
But this is the thing
was
that
pretty good too.
Has me encouraged, guys, is that if Keith Law, who hates the Jays, and we texted about this afternoon, guy who just hates the Jays and is still sour that he got fired by them, the quote that Brendan Kuhn tweeted says the Jays place 6 guys on my top 100, 1 on the just miss list, and have 3 or 4 more who would comfortably fit amongst the next 40 names. So on Keith Law's list, they have 10 or 11 names landing in the top 150. That's impressive.
Did you see who's Keith Law's number 2 is?
No.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
Of course.
Which shocks me too, because I really don't feel like that they had that standout to begin with, and that Mets trade really didn't give them a ton.
So I'm thinking maybe the Jays, and it might be his bias against the Jays. So I'm putting that number 2 because Tampa Bay is his number 1, and I don't think that's an argument.
Obvious.
Yeah.
Still have Wander Franco down there, who's going to be equal or better than Vlad's ceiling.
Well, then I believe they actually have 7 prospects in the top 100.
Yeah.
So
this is why
Wander Franco being the top guy. So points there, and then obviously trickled through a little bit more than us. But yeah, very interesting. And then I had mentioned the tidbit about Lourdes Gurriel Jr. actually is mentioned in Baseball Network's top 100 players last night. Was ranked number 83. Obviously, there's some guys above him that are on that list that we are, well aware of in new free agent markets and stuff like that. But I was interested to see that they actually ranked him in the top 100.
Biggio's there now too.
Correct.
Of
well,
course.
come on. They put Biggio was the 5th best second baseman in baseball, according to the Shredder thing on MLB Network. So
he's ranked number 1, right?
71.
1.
Yes.
One with a 7 in front of it.
Number 1. So 7 is Greek for number. Gotcha.
Yes, number 1 in your heart, Adam. Yes. That's right.
Man Crush Monday on a Wednesday.
Oh my god.
All right, guys. That's all we got. Unless there's more questions, Craig.
Last.
Sorry. No, we have time.
Apparently, Dan Schulman on the Fan 590 said today that he could see Alex Manoah making it into the pen by September.
Wow. Oh yeah, I can see that.
See it?
If it's expanded rosters we're talking about in September?
Sure.
Yeah.
I would say he's in that ballpark, but right now he is not on the 40-man roster. So that would also have to create a 40-man roster move come September call-ups just to even make it happen.
Make a trade.
Yes, make a trade.
Where is he starting, Craig?
Michael said today he's probably going to be a New Hampshire Fisher Cat to start the season, and honestly, I think that actually makes plenty of good sense. I can pull up that again, but honestly, guys,
he ended Dunedin, right? Before,
yes.
Or no?
But now remember, that's the restructuring flip-flopping.
That's right.
It's not the lug nuts.
Right.
Not. I thought this was ironic,
Right.
You have all these guys that are like, yes, I moved up. I'm out of Vancouver. And then now, I get to go back to Vancouver, but I'm better.
Yeah,
That's true, actually.
But Vancouver's promoted with me. Yeah,
Yes.
Exactly. It's like the
We got a whole
team
team
gets to
promoted.
jump up with you. There it is. We played so good. Look what we did. But the rotation at New Hampshire is going to look a little ridiculous according to this. So Michael said that he'll have SWR will be the number one guy. Another gentleman that we Blue Jays fans should be pretty familiar with in Elvis Luciano in the number 2 spot is what he's projecting. So that makes sense. Alex Manoah in the 3rd spot, Nick Aguilar, and then
who?
Maximo Castillo, Algier. I don't know, Algeria. I can't remember how you say it.
Sounds right.
Better than what I would have done.
Right.
Anyway, Maximo Castillo, who pitched really, really well over the last couple of years with the Dean Blue Jays and the Lansing Lugnuts. I'm looking forward to this one. When we were writing in the last couple of years together in Jays Journal, Justin Maese was one of the best pitchers for the Lansing Lugnuts and looked like he was all of a sudden this diamond in the rough, right? He is finally healthy, and he is projected to be pitching probably for the New Hampshire Fisher Cats. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to be able to do.
Craig,
So
what about Joey Murray?
Joey Murray, they actually had him in contention for the rotation, but he's probably projected for Buffalo.
Okay, well, nice.
The Buffalo rotation is either Merriweather, Hatch, Kay, depending on where they align with the major league team, Zoik, Patrick Murphy, and Joey Murray.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that's pretty solid. I'd like considering for AAA. I think that's pretty solid.
And then the other wild cards in that are the fact that you don't know where Wagas Peck's going to end up, and Zach Logue is the other one.
This is why another trade needs to happen. There's so many names down there I'm excited about.
It's like we have a full beer and it's kind of foaming out.
It's overflowing. Overflowing at the 716 Sports Bar and Grill in downtown Buffalo.
There you go. Right next to Pearl Street.
That's right. And
there we go. Can't hate. Can't hate. All right. Well, that's going to do it for today's show. Connor, you know the deal. You're familiar with the process. You can promote any and everything you've got going on, where people can find you, where people can locate the 6'4 King. Go for it, man. Floor is yours, bro.
You can find me on Twitter at @TO_sportsviews. You can check out the podcast. It's the TSV podcast. I'm going to be probably doing another podcast episode within the next couple of weeks. I want to actually touch on Blue Jays topics more. It's been more Raptors focused lately. But I was telling Craig before we went live that the baseball and the Jays have always been my first love, very similar to you, Adam. Raptors and basketball kind of, it came second, but the baseball has always been my first love as a sport I grew up playing and the sport I followed the most. So I'm going to probably get to a little bit more focus in on the Jays, and that can mainly be where you find me. If you want to hear some fire hot takes and some, outrageous one-liners, you can always listen to podcasts like Jaybird Watching, because I'll be around. I'm here. When my internet likes to cooperate with me, I'll be here.
Yeah, ever since we last ragged on you, it wasn't too bad.
I did. Okay, so like
stepping up in the clutch
little tiny trick. I was back here initially, and I slowly shuffled my computer up
closer to the router.
I was kind of doing one of these, I was moving it a little bit, and I was pushing it a little bit closer. And I don't know. I think, listen, all these little shithead kids around my block, they're all gaming late at night, and everyone's taking my bandwidth, bro. We don't need your Fortnite clips. Just let me talk Jays with the boys. Come on, shit.
Hey man, anyway, Josh Allen was on Fortnite, all right, and he pounded a blue light. Just a heads up.
Yeah, he upgraded to COD. Don't worry about it.
Pounded one.
COD. Warzone duels with Stephon Diggs. That's how they got that chemistry.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Games bring people together.
Right. Okay, so I can't hate that much.
So everyone.
Show soon.
There you go. Follow Connor on Twitter. Shout out to Small Balls Inc. for life. Everybody subscribe to the TSV podcast. Connor, we thank you for hopping on. And look, while you're, in that podcast realm, if you haven't subscribed to us already, please do. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from, we are there. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, please take the opportunity to give us 5 stars and a quick review. Doesn't really help juice the algorithms, but it makes us look really cool, and that's what we want. I mean, I'm a dad, so I'm not cool by definition. Craig, you know the deal. We're just not cool. We're not cool people. It's just, yeah, dad bod. We're just not cool people.
Sweet dad body.
Yeah. We just pretend to be
Dog
cool.
gurus.
Yeah, there you go. Our best friends are dogs. So that being said, also if you like to watch videos, if live streams are your things, we are on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, all the places that you can get your live video streams from. We are there typically every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. You can catch us live. You can interact with us much like you've heard on the show. And if you missed it, don't worry, still on YouTube. Subscribe to us at JBirdWatching. I think Birdwatching GC is the handle for that. So that being said, gentlemen, send this like we always do with 2 claps and a Ric Flair and a Let's Go Blue Jays.
Woo! Let's go Blue Jays.
Woo! Let's go Blue Jays.